at the end of the presentation because I've sort of structured it in a certain way. So let's kick this off. Growing Health Businesses is the name of my presentation that I specifically selected. So a little bit of info about me, and if you choose to download this presentation later on, you may have a read, but basically Your Easy Up Solutions has been established in 2007, and we've got offices in Brisbane and Melbourne, despite the fact that it sounds, Brisbane and Melbourne might sound really big. We're very personal. We're only a group of 7 people, and we provide a very personalized service. I'm the founder and the managing director of the business, and if anything, I'm very personal about the way I work with my customers. Here are some of the brands of the businesses we work with. We've got some dental businesses, we've got some medical businesses, we've got a bit of a mix. Overall, what I found was we ended up picking up a customer in the dental field about 3 years ago, and I just found that the inquiry process was really straightforward. People rang, they needed something done pretty much straight away, and I basically looked at how we could support that process to improve the conversion rate, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many keywords you got, where your ads are showing. If you're not getting customers, nothing really matters. Sounds familiar? I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh, well, I don't really care about all these metrics. I just want phone calls or bookings. Does that sound about right? Yeah. So that's typically what we get from some of our customers. They're sort of like, well, I'm too busy. Hand over to us and do the magic. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do in most of the cases. A little bit of presentation agenda around what I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about reaching your audience, and Beck's done a fantastic job covering on all the key aspects of where Google can reach you, but there's more. Some things before you start, because a lot of people really kick off their campaigns before considering a few things that I find crucial. I want to look at success metrics, how to measure your campaigns, and also go through a case study. We've got one of our customers here today who basically attended one of the workshops like this one. I think it was late July last year, and I think it'll be interesting for you guys to know what they sort of went through and how it all is going for them. And questions right at the end. All right, so what are your goals? Get more clients? Hands up if you want to get more clients. Yeah, majority of the people, I imagine. What about reduce current advertising costs? Who'd like to do that? Okay, we've got a few. What about getting better leads? I guess this is not too much of a problem for you guys in the health industry, because a lot of the people who are contacting you, they've got a problem. But if you look at, let's say, tradies or other businesses, there's a lot of tire kickers. There's people inquiring and they're really wasting a lot of time. But the process is really quite unique. So ways to grow your business. You can get more leads. That's one of the ways to grow a business. And you're basically looking at new avenues. You might look into Facebook. You might look into Google, YouTube. You might look into some new opportunities, partnering with some people. You can improve your ongoing campaigns. This is just some of the basics. You can improve your conversion rate. So if you're getting enough calls, in fact, that's probably the first thing I recommend you guys look at, because improving your conversion rate is really converting those calls or bookings into appointments. So it's really to do with your sales process and the CRM, if you've got one. I know a lot of you guys are using various practice management software. Some of you are not using anything, but bottom line is, if you want to improve your conversion rate, you should definitely look into having some sort of a CRM. Getting repeat customers or old customers to come back, and potentially getting referrals as well. That's another way you can grow a business too. And for that, you really need a system. Please excuse the resolution of this projector, but yeah, the system's right there. Look, these are just some of the things I've identified specifically to what we can help you with. If you guys want something a little bit more numbers driven, if you want something a little bit more factual, we've got Grant from Q4 Finance. Grant, could you just make yourself known? Grant from Q4 Finance. Grant's an accountant who basically specializes in helping businesses, mostly health businesses, grow or basically restructure and focus on wealth. So if you guys like to find out a little bit more about that, have a chat to Grant during the break. So in terms of digital marketing, I guess getting more leads, that's something fairly straightforward that we can help you with. And improving your conversion rate is really key, because what I find is there's a huge disconnect between the actual ads and the websites oftentimes when the inquiries are being made. So it's almost like you do things your way, then you get someone else who has no idea how you do your sale to do your marketing, and then you're getting surprised as to why I've spent, let's say, $2,000 to get a certain number of results. Sounds like common sense, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm seeing right, left, and center. People who do your marketing do not understand your sales process. So You really want to draw your attention to it. So reaching your audience and the types of campaigns that you can run. I guess you guys all know that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. You heard that before? Yeah? So really the objective of your advertising or your marketing, if you're looking at the bigger picture, is making sure that people can recognize your brand, they know what you do, and in terms of liking, it's all about research and review. So when people start searching for you, do they find things that they're going to like? That's really the big question. Now, Bex mentioned a few things about reviews. The stats on reviews are crazy. I'm going to go through a few figures in just a minute, but overall, know, like, and trust is really what you're looking to achieve, because overall, trust is when people start to inquire. So if you think of the bigger picture, someone's doing a search and they find 4 or 5 results from companies that they've never heard about, and then they're going to look through them and find whatever sounds best to make an inquiry. That's ultimately what happens, unless you've done some work on your brand and basically done some exposure. I mean, if you go to the shop and you see Coke and then you see some weird looking drink, one instantly tells you exactly what it is. You know what the brand is all about. You know what it does. If anything, you probably trust that a little bit more. The other one, well, if you'd like to experiment, it's your decision. But anyway, that's just the example. And obviously, trust leads to a sale, and that's, I guess, the most important part of the thing. So, in terms of questions that I want to ask you, why do big companies like Coke, for example, spend billions of dollars on marketing their brand year to year? Anyone? Can anyone tell me?
New people born every day.
Well, that's right. But look, Coke. Everyone knows what Coke is. Everyone knows what it looks like. But every now and again, there might be Coke, I don't know, vanilla or lime or something else popping up, right, left and center. And their sales go through the roof time after time after time. It's consistent. Really, the idea is they want to support their brand, and their brand associates with certain things as well. Have you seen any of the McDonald's billboards along Olympic events or any of the football matches or anything like that? You'd think McDonald's, probably like junk food and stuff like that, at a sports event. What are they trying to achieve? They're trying to tell the world that their food is actually not that bad, that they are all for health food, that they are the company that's willing to evolve time after time after time. Look, Google up stats and stock sales in terms of McDonald's and Coke. You'll be surprised, guys. So it's directly related. When users find your ads, will they take action straight away? That's a question for you guys. Yes or no? There's a lot of options, and oftentimes people want to do some research. And Beck showed you a stat where 90% of people click through, and then from that particular stat, 80% of people, just wander off somewhere else, and they never made any inquiries at all. It doesn't mean that they're not going to come back to you. The journey doesn't stop there. So I think it's very important for you to understand things like remarketing, things like diversifying your message, things like social media that Chris is going to talk about later today. Will users need to be followed up? Do you think an inquiry process is straightforward? Are there any further questions that need to be asked? I mean, what I find is, I send out an email to people to attend an event, and half the people say, look, I'm not available at that particular time. If I finish my marketing right there would be no people in this room right now. If I send a follow-up email 6 months later with another event, I'm going to have a lot of people coming back to me straight away, wanting to come back and learn more about what we're doing. Anyway, you've got to really ask yourself all these questions in order to understand the sort of marketing mechanisms that need to be involved with what you're doing. Because Google is not a simple process. Like it's not a platform where you can just get that inquiry and forget about it. And unfortunately, a lot of you guys are doing search campaigns where you run an ad, you don't do any remarketing, you don't do any YouTube, you don't do anything else. And great if you're doing some search campaigns, obviously it's going to be getting you some results, but there's a lot more that you can do. Here's a classical marketing funnel. Hands up if you've seen something like that before. Yeah? So awareness is really what you want. Education followed by consideration, action, and loyalty. What that really means is you want people to see your brand or understand what you do, and you want to educate them along the way. This is what we can do for you. That's the sort of product. This is what it does. Consideration is anything to do with people finding you when they're looking for a particular product or a service, like dentist near me or something like that. Or they might be looking for, orthodontist in the area or something like that. And then action is the actual inquiry process and the sale. Now, consideration and action, there's a big gap between these two things. If someone wants to see a dentist, it's pretty much same day type of exercise. If someone's looking for an orthodontist for their kids, the decision-making process is very, very complicated. and you potentially might want to look into a number of interactions that will happen. Loyalty is really all about referrals. I mean, you probably know this for a fact, even if you've been in business for quite some time, that referrals are the best way you can drive your business. Are you actively doing anything to help your customers refer you? That's really the question I want to ask you. Anyway, awareness. When you start with awareness, you basically want to focus on brand and services, show that to the target market, and Beck's done a great job showing how that targeting is done. And you want to build an audience as well. Building an audience is really the exercise where you can have people seeing your ad followed from a particular action. Let's say they click to your website. We build an audience on that so we can start serving them videos or ads or anything else, something along these lines. And I've done some research and I found that TLC Acupuncture, some of you may know them, is doing some banner ads. And look, the idea is brand and services. TLC Acupuncture, take care of yourself with regular acupuncture treatments. Your health and happiness is important to us. So no call to actions, nothing. All they want to do is let the world know, this is who we are, this is what we do. Pretty straightforward. And this is just a different format of the same ad, so just a different size. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Cool. Education level. So authority and advice, case studies, reports. You may feature a product and have some FAQs. Has anyone seen ads like that? Mm-hmm. Can anyone tell me the product that this refers to? Huh? Virgin, yep. So what sort of products do you have in Virgin? You've got the economy, you've got business class. What does this refer to? Does anybody know? Premium economy. In fact, it's called Economy X. All right, I've got this mug to give away. I've got my active participant for today. Thank you. Can you pass that? It's just a Eurasium Solutions mug for being super active. Thank you. But yeah, I just wanted to check. You see, Economy X. Many of you may not have seen the name, but you know that this is got the Virgin. And in fact, this is a banner that basically rotates through 3 types of images. I've purposely left out the one that says, premium economy, it's called Economy X, but the colors and what it is actually refers to the whole product. So mission accomplished. You fly with Virgin? There you go. So you guys see how powerful this stuff is? And the beauty is the cost per click on these things compared to your search is typically about the 10th of the price. It's not that expensive. All you need to do is know how to set it up properly. The way you measure that is by reach and click-through rate. Reach is the number of people that see it. And the beauty of these ads is that you don't really pay anything until people click on it, which means that if you show that to 1 million people and only 10 people click through, you only pay for the 10 clicks that actually occurred. You can set it up in a way that you can pay per reach on 1,000 people at a time, but there's obviously pros and cons to it. Moving on, consideration. So it's all really about the point of difference. Your call to action is really necessary for that, and having an offer works really, really well. So we're sort of moving down that funnel as I showed you before. Fitness First is doing one of those. You no doubt would be familiar with Fitness First, I would imagine. Probably the biggest gym franchise in Australia, I would imagine. Start the journey with up to 6 weeks free. Join now. Start the journey with free trial. So they're trying 2 different things side by side. So it's one of those where you know the brand. You don't need to be educated about what Fitness First does. And you got this banners popping up right, left, and center. Pretty cool, huh? So what you're really tracking there is click-through rates and conversions. So at your consideration level, you want to know the percentage of people that find your ads relevant, and you want to know how many people actually inquire from those clicks as well. So those are really the metrics for you. And in fact, I might have missed the awareness side of things. Reach and frequency is really what you're looking for. So at that top level, you want to make sure you reach as many people as possible and get them to see that ad as many times as possible as well. Make sense? All right, moving along. Consideration. That's where people come to when they are ready to sort of get certain things. They know what they want, and really they start searching. So this is probably 80% of our business. People want to be found right through Google. And look, if you've completely avoided awareness and education side of things, that's fine. But if you're a bigger brand and you want to really get more out of your advertising dollar, you need to do all the previous steps as well, especially with practices that have multiple locations around, let's say, Brisbane or Australia. So when people start searching, and people search using different methods now, obviously you've got the Google Assistant, you can do Google search. Does anyone ever click on this, I'm feeling lucky today? Yeah? Beck tells me they do. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, and look, I've had a bit of a conversation with Beck prior to it, but we use Bing as well. Look, we're an agency that works with Google quite closely, and Beck is our rep who basically helps us deliver the best service we can. But for our customers, we find that Bing still gets about 10% of additional searches for our customers, and the clicks are a lot cheaper. Now that's your Yahoo and that's your Bing as well. So same platform, works quite well. We do that for a lot of our customers. So if you search for enough, if you get enough searches and you're looking for like, well, what else can I do to get more people? You might want to do something like that. Won't be a massive bill from them, but if you get a couple of conversions, might be worth the exercise. Anyway, back to consideration level. What you want to do is, with consideration, the main thing that you want to focus on is having good reviews. If you don't have any reviews, and a lot of you guys, I'm actually waiting for you to start telling me about the ARPA regulations, but no one's picked it up yet. Anyway, Google reviews. The beauty of Google reviews is that they are external to your website, and you've got no control over it. Once it's set up, ARPA can't do anything about it. You can't delete those reviews. You can maybe take your listing offline, but the whole idea is that people can leave a review that's neutral. Like, you can't influence the whole thing. Positive, negative. Yep, question?
But I understand that you can't actually tell patients to leave reviews, so how are you going to get that message to them?
I think I've got an answer right behind you. No?
No, it's actually, you can't do testimonials. It's actually testimonials.
That's right.
That can't be.
If you read ARPA regulations correctly, and look, consult your lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. Consult your lawyer before you do anything like that. The whole regulation is about testimonials and having things on your website that you can fully control. Reviews and stuff are quite separate from everything else. That's why if you look for doctors and if you look for certain health professionals, you'll find Google reviews popping up. You'll get product review popping up. You'll find True Local popping up. And there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you can in a way, but it's fairly complicated. Now, Google reviews, 84% of consumers trust Google reviews as much as a personal recommendation. Isn't that phenomenal? I mean, when you go to a restaurant, guys, like, hands up if you read reviews before you go to a restaurant you've never been to before. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hands up if you read negative reviews first. Yeah, all right, I'm in the right room. 92% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business. That's pretty much the same, but yeah, it's just fascinating figures. Should have probably swapped those two around. Online reviews impact 90% of purchasing decisions. Now that's a big one. If you've got an online store and you're selling something, having online reviews really helps you, because a lot of the time, like, there's nothing about your brand that's known. Don't know why this is popping up, but anyway. 74% of consumers say positive reviews make them trust a local business more. Now, all these facts are from Nielsen. They're really quite a reputable stat company in the world. And look, bottom line is try to get more reviews than your competitors. How you do it is entirely up to you. I'm sure you've got people around you who can compliment on your business, not necessarily on you or your service, but overall how clean your premises are. And if you read the ARPA regulations, bit by bit, you'll find there's a lot of loopholes around that. If you're not as creative, I suggest that you take a look at some of the competitors who have reviews and see what other people say about that. But if you're serious about this and you want a strategy, have a chat to us, consult your lawyer. But I suggest you do something about this because your competitors will do it anyway. Moving on. So what this actual journey means is awareness is really who you are. Education is about what you do. Consideration is really your offer. Action is inquiry and sale, and the loyalty is about referrals. So that's a breakdown of that funnel. Now, Albert Einstein, who's heard this quote before? Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You know what this is all about? Unfortunately, I do come across a lot of businesses who have been doing the same thing, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing. Someone set something up for them years ago, it's running, it's not working, or it's got too expensive, or they suddenly started paying attention to their Google bills that are coming in, and they expect things to work. So I suggest you guys that, if you've been doing something for a very long time and the results aren't the same, you read this quote once again and understand if you're on the right track. If not, potentially, pick up the phone and call us and have a chat, or call another agency and see what they can offer and how things could be done. We're in 2019, guys. It's March already. The time flies so fast. I mean, I'm still recovering from the Y2K. I was walking around thinking, is the world really going to end? Is this the end? So, yeah, look, before you start, this is the section of my presentation where I wanted to draw your attention to the common problems that majority of businesses ignore. So if you advertise, you might have come across something like this. From marketing to a sale, and this is more of a bigger picture. Message, disconnected message. The ad does not connect to the destination URL. How many times have you clicked on an ad that sounded pretty cool, and then you end up on the page and it's like, well, this page has nothing about what I've been looking for. And for some reason, 80% of people are still driving all their traffic to their homepage. I don't get it, guys. I really don't. The conversion rate of a homepage is roughly 3 to 5%. A landing page would convert 4 or 5 times better than that. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Making sure the message is connected. Inconsistent call to action. So I'm talking about the ads. You know when you look for an ad and it says, you know, call us now or book online, and you go to the site and there's no phone number and no book online button. Whoa, what's going on? How does this work? So you need to make sure that the ad has got the triggers that are appearing on the website. So it's just got to be connected. The Aqua principle. Now, this is something that I've put together based on a lot of research I've done. I do a fair bit of reading of certain business coaches and people that basically do a lot of sales. What I find is Brian Tracy is the guy that I picked this up from. Is that there's a lot of things people leave out in their ads, and typically what we want to see is that the ad needs to reflect customer wants. And the trouble is, guys, no offense, a lot of you are very smart people. You're in the health field, so you've studied for quite some time. You make things too complicated when it comes to an ad. You really need to reflect what the consumer wants in order to get better outcome. So the consumer wants, what's that all about? I'll talk about that in a minute. And the sales points. So the Aqua principle is all about that. So let's talk about that. Aqua is really an acronym for affordability, convenience, utility, and availability. So affordability, make sure if you offer things like payment plans, rebates, health insurance, it's really straightforward. I see a lot of the ads that don't talk about anything like that. In fact, the phone calls come in, and the first thing that people ask is, what? How much do you charge? Do you take health insurance? Blah, blah, blah. What if you put that into your ad and your copy? Do you think those questions are going to disappear? Do you think you're going to have a better conversation with that particular person? That's the whole point. Convenience. Things like free parking, you know, servicing customers after hours, doing weekends appointments. We've been working with a business called Doctors on Manly Road. Now, about a month ago, I had a phone call from the owner. Very busy saying, man, we've got to put the ads on hold. I can't talk right now. I'll talk to you later. I was so worried, thinking we might have done something wrong. Now, interestingly enough, my wife, who's actually 18 weeks pregnant, she goes to that place, and she says every time she goes there, the queue is huge, and these guys are having to turn people down. And that was really the problem. We have put so many people through that business that they had to look into finding a different venue. They just cannot sustain their advertising. They've got enough. That's it. They're at capacity right now. And really, the one thing that drove their business forward, we did a Brisbane-wide campaign for weekend appointments for them. And people were happy to travel up to half an hour to see a bulk billing doctor on the weekend. So that was a very big selling point. So affordability, bulk billing, convenience, weekend appointments. Utility. Now, utility is all about your awards, certifications, credibility. Really, it's about things that prove the fact that you can do what it is that people want from you. So that's the utility side of it. And availability, and once again, the resolution is letting me down. It's about, you know, things like, you know, book now, you know, same day emergency service and things like that. It's about the availability that really wraps around what people want, especially with things like dentists, emergency dentistry. People really need something done straight away. They are in a lot of pain. So I believe if you use this concept for any of your advertising, not just Google, but if you have this on your flyers, if you have this on your billboards, whatever, if you cover all these 4 areas, this is really what customers want to see. Your conversion rate is going to go through the roof. And that's ultimately what we use for our landing pages and everything else that we do as well. So let's have a look at a few ads. And I just wanted to sort of see what, you know, what you guys think stands out the most, but didn't realize it'd be so small. But anyway, we've got Gold Coast Dentist, affordable dental care. You see they basically tap into that affordability. Preferred provider of health funds, affordable dental care you can feel comfortable with. Preventative care and personalized dentist services. Contact dentist on the Gold Coast, convenient location. Now, do you think the majority of people are going to look for preventative dental services? It's really one of those, like, you either go and visit your dentist religiously once they send you a reminder, or you start looking for one when things get bad, right? All right, so I would cross that, probably give it like a 3 out of 10. This ad over here, over 15 years of experience dental practice Gold Coast. Meet our friendly and experienced team. We offer all general, cosmetic, implant, and treatments. Call to find out more about our latest treatment specials. Choose the best Gold Coast dentist, adults and children welcome. New Robina practice friendly team, blah, 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 blah. Location, phone number is actually not here, but open from a particular time to a particular time. Is that a better ad? So it talks about convenience, it talks about availability, you know where they are as well. I'm not going to go through the rest, but I guess this is probably the only one I want to draw attention to. I was doing a search from Brisbane. I was looking for a dentist on the Gold Coast. Someone from Chermside came up. Now Chermside is like 20 kilometers, well not maybe 20, 10 kilometers north of Brisbane CBD. So this is a typical example of a failure when someone decided to market to a huge area, just like what Beck was showing. You don't want to do that. Like you really want to be quite specific. And you can exclude people that are seeing your ads as well. Anyway, what I want to show you is just how the ads stand out and basically what, what specific parameters to mention. Hopefully that was a decent example. Now, if you click on this guy over here, you end up on the page like that. That's what I'm talking about. They're sending people to their homepage, and it doesn't specifically reflect everything that was mentioned there. So, if anything, I'll probably focus on some things more than others. It's just a really, really general page. So, if you want emergency dentistry, you really want to be working with leaders in implant and cosmetic dentistry? I don't think so. Friendly, professional team is all great, but really what you want to see in there is something along the lines of maybe, adults and children and what the next step is, potentially what health funds they take and so on and so forth. So you can certainly improve this process. Another example, Chiropractor Brisbane. So you've got this one popping up right up the top. Vitaline, excellent in service, treatment and technology. Book your appointment online now. Visit us for just $85. And address, everything, that's fine. Second one, Chiropractor Brisbane offer $49 for new patients. Act now. Now, that basically has got the address as well and the time that they're open as well. Now, do you find how some of these ads sort of stand out a little bit more? Mm-hmm. What sort of things do make you sort of notice the ad a little more than others?
I like the idea it says 49 for new patients. Yeah. So I'm a new patient, so that sort of applies to me.
Price game is something I would not recommend because next thing that's going to happen, someone's going to come up with 39 and 29 and anyway, it's just going to be forever going. But using a number in the headline really makes you pay attention to it. Take another look at this. Do you notice that number?
15
because it really stands out. So whenever you're looking at headlines, and this is back in the magazine days, when you look at like a magazine cover of Cosmopolitan, something says 7, I don't know, sex secrets or something like that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The number is really key. Anyway, I'm not going to go through too much detail. You get the idea. But if we click through, let's say this one and this one over here, this is the one that you get to see. So it talks about $85 offer, and you come to a site that looks like this. Fair enough, it's got phone number, it's got location and opening hours. Book appointments, not too bad. Doesn't say anything about the offer. Now the second one, which is this one over here, Elite Therapy, just goes to a page like that. Now I get it. Some of you guys really want your website to look like a Mona Lisa painting. Fair enough, I get it. We get those calls all the time, and in fact my background is web design, that's where I started, but I think it's completely pointless. The whole thing is message driven. So you want to make sure that the message is connected and people can take action. When it comes to something like this, and no offense to Elite Therapy, you're just destroying your own conversion rate. And the next thing that's going to happen, they're going to be talking to the marketing manager or the digital agency saying, it's not converting. We're wasting money, we're getting clicks, but now it's obvious, isn't it? Anyway, guys, you're probably going to be experts by the end of this presentation. So some tips for you. Use landing pages. Key content, make key content easily visible, make it easy to follow, make it mobile and desktop friendly. Key content is where you are, how to contact you, when you're open, and your services and offer. That's really what you want to be showing. Don't reinvent the wheel, guys. Just keep it simple. So you're probably thinking, well, can you show me one of the landing pages? Yes, no? I'm going to show you one anyway. This is an example of a landing page we've done for Road Dental. It's just a dental practice in Greenslopes. Obviously, we want to make sure that it comes up well on the mobile and desktop, and I've had Google Pixel 3 XL and Google Pixel 3 showing. Unfortunately, this resolution is not that big, but I'll take you through it. There's a logo, there's a phone number, address, and then it says affordable dental services, friendly team of dentists, full range of dental services, after hours appointments available, open 6 days a week, 10 plus years experience, $120 special offer includes full checkup, clean, and x-ray. Book an appointment today, inquire now. Does that sort of cover all the points? It's a really nice intro. It covers all the main things that people would buy on. And yeah, it ranks really, really high according to how we position it. Now, you're probably thinking, I get the aqua concept, I understand what it is. I'm not creative, I can't find out what my customers want. Here's another tip for you. Have a look at other people's testimonials and reviews in your particular case. Have a look at what people compliment on. You'll find that a lot of people say, friendly team, affordable, all that sort of stuff. That's where that's coming from. All right, good tip? I hope so. This is what it looks like on the desktop. Exactly the same page. So it's just plain responsive design. Exactly the same thing. All right, next problem is attention span. Let's talk about the attention span. Have you guys seen anything like this? Well, unfortunately, the attention span of a user, an average user, I won't compare you guys because obviously you guys are all health professionals, studied for a very long time, is 8 seconds. It used to be 12 about 15 years ago. Something's happened. It might be YouTube, and it might be the mobile phone. But the bottom line is goldfish apparently has got 9-second attention span. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you look at something and you click through, within 10 seconds, you probably don't remember what you saw. Does that happen to you? You're like browsing and then you're like wondering, why am I looking at videos of cats? Yeah? Or is it just me? Maybe it's just me. Anyway, let's talk about the attention. Time for a user to click on an ad. How long do you reckon that is? So this is like when people start browsing. So let's say you're typing in, I don't know, Dr. Brisbane or something like that. How long for you to click on an ad, roughly?
1 to 2 seconds.
It's actually about 3 to 8 seconds. So people take the time to read. If this was something less problem related, then they'd probably click sooner. Time for a user to take action on your website. So once they click through, how long do you think that would take? 5 to 20 seconds typically. So once they get there, it's like, well, what do I do? Time for a user to make an inquiry or a booking. It's up to a minute really. The whole thing is fast. People expect it to be really fast. The fact that we're very unfortunate with our prime ministers and internet is a problem, is a national disaster, in fact. But we've got to work with what we've got, and there's a lot of things that we can do to improve the whole journey for the customer. So what I find is that from search to an ad, really what you want is you want to make sure that you dominate a large enough piece of real estate and make sure that you have a headline that really stands out. I mentioned the number, but certainly you can do other things as well. So you can see even from a distance how this really dominates. From ad to a result, you know, the whole loading game. And I've had a look at a website called coopermedical.com.au. Is anyone from that business here by any chance? No? Okay, fair enough. It's going to be less painful for them, I guess. So what you can do is you can use a service called gtmetrics.com. It's a free service. You can just type in your website in there. It tells you how long it takes for the site to load. It says, according to Google, it's 91% all good. According to Yahoo, it's about 74% all good. But the load time is 21 seconds. Are you really going to wait for 21 seconds if you're looking for a doctor? I mean, do you even know that it's loading? Like, how do you tell? Now, this is a really good tool, especially if you're looking to improve things. There's a little tab here called Waterfall. If you click on that, it shows you a little graph like that. Probably meaningful to most of you, I imagine. No? It basically just got times allocated to each of the components that gets loaded, and then you'll see those big things like that that really take forever. All you got to do is just take a screenshot of that thing and send it to your web developer and say, hey, there's a problem there, can you please fix it for me? Because this will tell the developer that there's a problem with this particular script over here. That's all you got to do. If you don't know, if you don't have a web developer, then I guess you need to get one, because I see a lot of people who build the website themselves, and then they're wondering, well, how do I improve it? Well, this is how you improve it. It's like, well, it doesn't mean anything to me. Well, okay, fair enough. Tips. With your ads, use numbers. Dominate more space. Make sure you use all the extensions that you can, but within reason. Sometimes they don't really apply, but You want people to see your address, you want people to see your opening hours, you want people to see your phone number, some additional things. Use the AQUA principle. Talk about availability, affordability, convenience, utility. Talk about those things. Destination, so the actual site, make sure it's relevant to an ad. Make sure it wraps around the customer wants, so the whole AQUA thing is translated there. And the fact that it loads fast is important as well. So success metrics. So what can you measure on a website? You can measure bookings. I'm sure a lot of you are using sort of booking engines and stuff. You can measure calls. So if you're not measuring calls, you can. Google uses those virtual numbers that do the redirects, and in fact you can see which keywords, which ads are creating you the calls. Walk-ins. Did you know that you can actually measure walk-ins as well? Yes? No? You guys all have Google Maps installed in your phone, I imagine? Well, that thing knows where you are at all times. It's got GPS tracking on it. Now, this thing is, I'd say, probably about 80% accurate, because a lot of people haven't got it set up, or it's, you know, it's
Or
not.
they opted out.
Or they opted out of the whole thing. That's another thing you can do. Depends on how yet. Hang on, we need more samples. We need more data. But you can measure walk-ins. So if you go to practice, you can actually understand how many people walk into the store. Now, isn't this interesting? I'm not sure if you had this conversation with your digital agency, but maybe in the past you would have seen, well, you've had so many clicks, you had so many, you know, whatever, but I haven't got any business from it. Like, you just don't know what it actually does for you. And they can't really explain to you what the whole thing does. Now, with the help of these things, you can actually see that within a month you have walk-ins from particular keywords or ads. It's actually pretty phenomenal. Email inquiries, they're pretty straightforward. Website visitors and website user behavior, things like time on site and so on and so forth. You can measure all those things, and I suggest that you use Google Analytics and have a look at it. If it's all meaningless for you, I suggest, you know, give someone like us a call and see if you can make a little bit more sense out of it. But at the end of the day, I find that a lot of people don't know anything about that stuff because they just don't look. So have a look at the analytics, at least give it a go. A lot of the stuff there is fairly straightforward. All right, so this is what it looks like within AdWords. If you connect your Google Business, you'll get to see things like click to call. You get to see things like directions to the business. You get to see things like website visits, other engagements like people asking for direction to you and so on and so forth. And our classic web calls and inquiries as well. So we track this whole thing and we can report on the whole thing. That's all set up in AdWords, Google Ads, I should say now. Still got that habit. This is just a walk-ins thing enabled. So you have the shop visit for one of our customers, and basically just says, you know, this is what they spent, and you can actually break that down into keywords and so on and so forth. So it's pretty cool. I mean, you get to see exactly how many people walk into the store. Really awesome stuff. I guess one of the tips is make sure you connect your Google Ads to your Google Business. If you haven't done that, you should. If it's using the same username and password, it should be connected by default. Customize your ad columns in Google Ads, because you won't see what I just showed you before if you don't customize it. Make sure that your marketing manager reports on specific metrics. Ask them, can you report on calls, on walk-ins? Can you send me a call log and so on and so forth? There's a lot of things that are available. Sometimes I just find business owners, they don't know what to ask. That happens. Case study. I want to bring someone quite special to me from a business called Get Better Physio. Lewis, could you come to the front, please? Let's give him a round of applause, guys. That's Lewis. Lewis came by himself today. He should have come with Garima, who unfortunately, or fortunately, is opening another practice. Hey, Lewis.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So tell us about Get Better Physio, and I guess you know, put together a bit about this case study. You're probably thinking, well, is there a script? There's no script. I just wanted to bring you forward and for you to share your particular story. You guys came to a workshop July last year, 2018. Tell us about the business. Tell us what you guys do and your overall journey.
So Get Better Physio was founded in 2012. It was a sole practitioner business. Garima was the sole practitioner. And then from there we moved, including other services, health related. So since then we've definitely expanded the team and expanded the different locations we operate from. Everything was done by us, so Garima and myself. And yeah, so we definitely needed help different in terms of marketing, how to run the business, accounting, all that. So it's been difficult.
Can you tell us about your marketing challenges prior to us working together?
So the biggest thing was the type of callers we get, the inquiries that we get through. So there were a lot of, oh, how much you services cost, and then just drop. However, there is more engagement now where the calls are actually not wanting the price, but saying, where are you located? Okay, I want to book now. Just completely different, much more easy to convert. Even if they call for a price, we're able to get them booked through. Just it's pretty a big difference.
Yeah. In terms of the starting point, we guys started working together in September because I know you've been quite busy and you had another contract with the company. We've done a review for Get Better Physio in terms of the AdWords campaign, and they were paying over $100 per conversion. That to us didn't look reasonable. We had a bit of a conversation about the quality of the leads, and Lewis just mentioned the fact that a lot of people just rang for price and didn't quite work out. So what we've done is we've done a landing page and we've done our campaign and pretty much started driving the leads for these guys. Now, how soon until you started getting better leads, like in your experience? Because one of the things we do, we like to run seamless service. Like once we set something up, we don't want to be in your ear all the time. If it's working for you, if the customers don't get back to us, great. That means the customer is busy. Tell us about your experience.
So we actually worked with 2 other companies before we met Alex. And they were expensive, and they say between a month, once we do the changes, you get results. It was past a month and nothing happened. We still have the same website with them, and we moved to UABC Solutions. And yeah, within a week, we definitely saw the change of inquiries that we had. So totally different, and had the same setup, the Google AdWords, everything. So they just really did a good job.
Thanks. So what we actually done is we don't like going and interfering with the website and the business design. Obviously, there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of emotion that's been put into it. So what we've done is a landing page that's done completely separate from the site. It sits on LP. You might have seen those like LP dot when you search for things. And then we've put together the whole landing page based on the whole Aqua principle specifically for them and the offer that they've had. So that was September last year. Now it's obviously March. Your business, I think, fluctuates a fair bit through the Christmas period a fair bit. How did you guys go this year? How did it go? How did it work for you?
So what we find is that the amount of patients that actually stayed with us through the holidays were increased. Although we're finding that in the past few years, because we are the only ones who are open, people actually come to us anyway. But definitely the leads that come through and just the number of patients that are there in the quiet periods have decreased. Like there's not much difference. We can see the way, but it's not as impactful in the business.
Yeah. One other thing that we saw is a huge opportunity in that the Google business listing wasn't set up properly, so we took over that and connected it to the actual ads as well. You know, sometimes when you search for something, you see the maps popping up, and sometimes a little ad comes up above the ads, above the maps as well. Have you seen that before? It just says ad. This is what we started doing for Get Better Physio as well, and that's actually like double pretty much on what we started straight away. So with us, typically it'll take us 4 or 5 days to set up the actual campaign, get everything going, and results, I'd say within 48 hours we'll start noticing how they sort of start flowing in. What we typically do is we check in on customers like Get Better Physio to make sure that the inquiries are flowing through, and then once everything's fine, we basically send reports and touch base only when something abnormal happens. And typically we've assigned one of our account managers. We've got Kai over there. Kai, can you just stand up and wave? Yep, thank you. And Adam right at the back there as well. So we're a team of 7, but we make things very personal as well. So one of these guys is looking after you. Any questions for Lewis? Great. Well, hopefully that's good silence over here. What I just wanted to say is huge thank you, Lewis, for coming. I know you guys are very busy. When I rang them last week, they were both going to come along, but they've got this practice that they're opening up, and I can only imagine the amount of work required to open up a practice. So you've got 2 right now. This is the 3rd one, right?
That's correct.
There you go. That's pretty good for a physio, I'd say. Lewis, thank you very much. Lewis will hang around, guys, if you want to ask any questions. But I think you know for yourself what the challenges are, and I think speaking to another business owner may help for you to understand exactly what they've gone through. So networking is really what it's all about. You might have noticed the expression of interest forms on the seats. We basically put those out specifically if you guys have any questions in relation to the campaigns that you guys are running. If you want a bit of a review, we're happy to offer that free of charge because we really appreciate you coming out. If you want a complimentary session with myself, I am fairly busy, but we can certainly arrange a time. And if you're not sure about your current website, we can do website critique as well. So if you want to fill that out and hand out to one of our guys, that would be awesome. Now, just to wrap up, I just wanted to show you the sort of campaigns that we run for our customers. We do a seamless campaign, and it's sort of stuff that we do for Get Better Physio, where really we don't want to trouble you too much, we get things happening for you, or we can do active campaigns, which is really the thing with banner ads, remarketing, and the whole lot. And if you really want to do things like sales or offers month to month, that's the sort of thing that we do as well. I'll send this presentation to you so you can have a look at the details. I'm not going to go through it too much, but the whole idea is you can either run one landing page or you can run up to 5 for all the different services, and we can do a lot of fine tuning for you as well. I guess some of the reason why you should choose us is because we do no contracts. One of the things that we like is, personal relationship with the customer. I don't feel the need to lock anyone into a contract. I don't think it's right. I think if something's working for you, it should work for you. If not, pass. You get a dedicated account manager. We provide ongoing support. We do results-based campaigns. We don't want to, just waste your budget and get more money for a company that pays Beck, even though we like Beck. I don't specifically think that Google is taking all the money, right? But anyway, that's just another argument. We started in 2007, so we've got a fair bit of experience, and we've got a local team as well. Any questions in relation to my presentation? Yep.
That cost, does that include the Google Ads cost?
You going back to this particular thing over here. We're talking about a recommended marketing budget. That's the cost specifically for Google.
What's the management cost?
Our management cost would depend on the actual involvement. It starts from $400 a month. Any other questions? Yep.
Is your cost included in that amount, or is it separate?
No, that's the recommended Google budget. That was just the question before. Yeah. We recommend, look, if you spend $800 and we know that your leads are costing you $20, we know we can get you 40 leads. If your conversion rate is 1 and 2, we can expect to see 20 patients booked, if that makes sense. We just want a large amount of budget to justify the results that you're going to get. And we can do a little bit of results forecasting as well. Another question?
Have you heard of the man Simon Sinek?
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with why, yeah?
Yeah. So where do you see his theory around don't mind what you do, but like why you do it with that actual principle? Because that aqua would be what? And so there's no why involved, I'm assuming.
That's a really good question. I think we could probably write a book about it if we really wanted to. But Sal is asking.
Can I answer it how I think?
Okay, go. Yep.
I'm assuming in the awareness and education phase, you may be speaking more why and how, and once people are down in the lower part of that funnel, it might be more what. Is that correct?
I think a lot of the time people are not really logically starting the conversation. Sometimes a lot of people start with how. How do I rank on the front page of Google? How do I do this? How do I, well, you rank on the front page of Google, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get any results. The whole idea is what do you want to be ranking on the front page of Google, right? Yeah. So the what is a good question to start things. The why goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think when we're operating at that consideration level, it's really it's about the what. The why has already happened, so you're spot on. I think that the branding and stuff will really check that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope that makes sense.
Yes.
We've gone real philosophical. Any other questions? All right, guys. Well, we're going a little bit over time. Let's take a 10-minute break. In the meantime, we'll reset the room. If you got any questions, we'll hang around. Otherwise, I'll see you back in 10. Thank you.